In the vast silence of ancient oceans, long before dinosaurs or even plants, a hidden revolution began. Invisible to the naked eye, it was a transformation so profound that it rewrote the story of life itself. In this episode, we dive into a forgotten world, a world where complexity was born. Imagine Earth as it stood nearly 2.5 billion years ago. No forests painted the land, no animals stirred the waters, and no birds filled the skies with song. Instead, vast rocky continents stretched beneath a pale sun, and endless oceans shimmered with silence. This was a planet alive, yet hushed, a world ruled not by complexity, but by simplicity. Beneath the rolling waves, life existed in its earliest, most primitive forms. The seas teemed with single-celled organisms, microscopic beings invisible to the naked eye, quietly shaping the destiny of our planet. They had already orchestrated one of Earth's greatest revolutions, the Great Oxidation Event, when cyanobacteria, tiny architects of photosynthesis, had released oxygen into the atmosphere. To us, oxygen is the breath of life, but to much of this ancient world, it was poison. Many microbial species perished, while others adapted, retreating into the dark, oxygen-free corners of the seas. It was a silent war fought on a microscopic battlefield. Across the shallows, stromatolites, layered mounds built painstakingly by colonies of cyanobacteria, rose like alien monuments. They stood as silent testaments to persistence, capturing sunlight by day and exhaling oxygen by night. Around volcanic vents, bizarre communities thrived on sulfur and heat, creatures that needed no sunlight at all. They fed on the raw chemistry of the earth, living in eternal darkness. Yet, despite all these forms of survival, there was one thing missing: complexity. For billions of years, life had remained stubbornly simple. Prokaryotes, bacteria and archaea, were efficient, resilient, and plentiful, but limited. They lacked the machinery for innovation, for building larger, more sophisticated bodies. The oceans were alive, yes, but static, suspended in an evolutionary twilight. Still, the stage was quietly being set for something remarkable. Earth's environment was changing in ways that opened doors to new possibilities. Oxygen levels, though still low compared to today, were gradually rising. Minerals poured into the oceans from volcanic eruptions, fueling chemical reactions. The microbial world, though silent to our eyes, buzzed with hidden interactions. Tiny predators consuming prey, competitors fighting for survival, and symbiotic partnerships forming in the dark. Beneath this surface of stillness, billions of years of time were at work, offering evolution the canvas to attempt its greatest experiment yet. We, looking back, might be tempted to see these oceans as empty, but in reality, they were anything but. Imagine a microscopic storm of activity, cells dividing, consuming, mutating, competing, and dying. Each invisible drama was a rehearsal for what was to come. For deep within this unseen world, evolution was preparing its boldest leap forward. A leap that would give rise to a new kind of cell, one equipped with complexity, resilience, and the power to transform. These silent oceans, seemingly frozen in time, were in truth the cradle of something revolutionary. And so the world waited. The air thickened with oxygen, the seas churned with chemicals, and the microbial kingdoms persisted. For nearly 2 billion years, Earth remained a place of simplicity. But simplicity was not the end of the story. In the stillness of these oceans, something extraordinary was about to awaken. As the silent oceans persisted, evolution prepared its boldest experiment. In the darkness of ancient seas, a microscopic encounter occurred. A predator engulfed its prey, but instead of digesting it, something extraordinary happened. The swallowed organism survived, forming an intimate partnership with its host. This unlikely alliance would spark one of life's greatest transformations, the birth of the eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotes were different from the simple prokaryotes that had dominated the oceans for billions of years. They were larger, compartmentalized, and equipped with specialized internal structures called organelles. The nucleus at the heart of each cell became a protective vault for DNA, regulating genes with unprecedented precision. Surrounding it, a network of endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus orchestrated the production and transport of proteins, functioning like miniature factories. But the most revolutionary organelles were the mitochondria. Once independent bacteria, mitochondria became powerhouses, converting nutrients into energy at a scale unimaginable to their predecessors. This symbiotic relationship, known as endosymbiosis, was a fragile but transformative union, fueling larger cell sizes, increased complexity, and evolutionary innovation. Energy was no longer the limiting factor. Suddenly, cells could explore new forms, grow larger, and experiment with structures never before possible. This transition was slow, painstaking, and rare. For millions of years, the oceans held countless simple cells, yet only a few embraced this new path. Those that succeeded became the ancestors of all complex life: plants, animals, fungi, and everything in between. By integrating one cell into another, evolution unlocked a new world of possibility, a blueprint for complexity itself. Inside these cells, genetic information could now be shuffled, recombined, and regulated in ways that gave rise to diversity and resilience. The stage was set for an even more radical innovation, one that would accelerate evolution beyond imagination: sexual reproduction. Once eukaryotic cells existed, life had unlocked new potential. But evolution was far from finished. For billions of years, reproduction had been a simple process. Cells split, creating identical copies. But this method limited diversity. Nature needed a way to mix genetic material, to explore possibilities faster and create resilient forms. Enter sexual reproduction, the invention that would transform life forever. Sex began subtly, as two single cells exchanging fragments of DNA. What may have seemed random was in fact revolutionary. Through this exchange, cells combined their genetic information, shuffling traits and producing offspring with unique combinations. Mutation alone could not keep up with environmental change, but sex accelerated adaptation, offering a survival advantage on a macroscopic scale. Cells could now evolve faster, survive harsh conditions, and explore ecological niches previously impossible. This innovation sparked an evolutionary arms race. Predators,
competitors, and environmental pressures created endless challenges. But sexually reproducing eukaryotes thrived. Their genetic flexibility allowed them to colonize new environments, survive oxygen fluctuations, and experiment with size and shape. The oceans became laboratories for evolutionary creativity, where diversity exploded in a microscopic Darwinian dance. Sex was not just about reproduction. It was a tool of experimentation. Each generation was an experiment in adaptation. Life had discovered a mechanism to anticipate the future, to create forms not just suited to their current environment, but capable of surviving the unpredictable changes to come. This simple yet profound breakthrough set the stage for multicellularity.
Armed with eukaryotic complexity and genetic flexibility, some cells began an unprecedented experiment: cooperation. For the first time, cells formed permanent associations, sticking together rather than separating after division. These colonies were the precursors to multicellular life. At first, these clusters were simple: groups of identical cells sharing resources, moving and responding collectively to environmental cues. Yet even this primitive collaboration had profound implications. Within colonies, division of labor emerged. Some cells specialized in energy production, others in reproduction, others in protection. By working together, these early multicellular organisms gained efficiency, adaptability, and resilience. The oceans, once dominated by solitary cells, now hosted organisms capable of complex interactions. Multicellularity opened doors to new sizes, shapes, and strategies. Cells could form protective layers, capture larger food sources, and resist environmental stress in ways single cells could not. Evolution was no longer limited to the level of individual cells. Entire assemblies of cells could now innovate together. This step toward complexity was slow and incremental, but unstoppable. Multicellularity paved the way for true diversity: plants, algae, fungi, and eventually animals. Life had moved beyond the microscopic stage, embracing cooperation as a survival strategy. What started as simple collaboration would ultimately lead to ecosystems of staggering complexity.
From these early multicellular experiments emerged the ancestors of all complex life on Earth. Eukaryotic cells, armed with mitochondria, nuclei, and sexual reproduction, had unlocked possibilities that would shape the planet forever. Their legacy is everywhere, in forests, oceans, and even within our own bodies. These cells allowed organisms to grow larger, specialize, and interact with their environment in unprecedented ways. By cooperating, dividing labor, and exchanging genetic information, life could adapt rapidly, colonize diverse habitats, and evolve complex behaviors. Eukaryotes laid the groundwork for plants that capture sunlight, animals that hunt and cooperate, and fungi that recycle nutrients across ecosystems. Even today, we carry their legacy in every cell of our bodies. The same mechanisms that powered single-celled innovation billions of years ago continue to drive life's diversity. Every breath, every heartbeat, and every thought traces back to these first remarkable experiments in complexity. The story of eukaryotes is a story of transformation, from solitary cells in silent oceans to a thriving biosphere rich with diversity and interaction. And yet, despite billions of years of evolution, the origins of this complexity remain a profound mystery, hidden in the depths of time, challenging scientists to uncover the precise moments that made life as we know it possible.
But even after decades of research, the rise of eukaryotes remains one of the most debated events in the history of life. Some scientists, like Lynn Margulis, revolutionized biology by proposing the endosymbiotic theory, that mitochondria and chloroplasts were once independent bacteria that merged into a host cell. Her theory, once dismissed, is now widely accepted. Yet others argue, was it truly a single event, or did eukaryotes evolve multiple times independently? Paleobiologists like Andrew H. Knoll have tried to connect fossil evidence with molecular clocks, but gaps remain. The controversy lingers. Do we truly know when and how complex life began? Or are we still piecing together fragments of a mystery written deep in the rocks of Earth's past? What do you think? Were eukaryotes the product of a single groundbreaking event? Or could life have experimented with complexity more than once? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to know your take on this ancient mystery.